What's up, y'all? My name is Amir Zendehnam. Today, we are going to be talking about how to stay happy, healthy, and strong in the modern world. We're going to be joined by my friend Sasha Sadri, who's currently in Belgium right now. Sasha, what's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm good, bro. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great.
There's no feedback, no echo, no anything.
Perfect. Very rare, but we just started out perfectly.
What's good, bro?
Sasha Sadri, one of my old friends from the UCLA days, over 10 years ago, I've known this guy. And Sasha is currently living in Belgium right now. And he is a health and mindset coach. And I have just been seeing his content now for the last few years and just watching him kill the game as far as health and happiness goes. So I just wanted to get on video with Sasha and just share the mindset of how to stay happy, healthy, and strong in this modern world. Sasha, how you doing, bro?
I'm good, brother. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Tell us.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Of course, my pleasure, man. Tell everybody a little something about yourself, what you're all about, who you are.
All right. Well, it's hard. It's always a hard question to answer, honestly, because where do I even start? I'm an American, Belgian, Persian guy with 3 passports. I'm a frustrated digital marketer turned health coach.
You're a Persian, Belgian, American.
Yeah. So I'm like the United Nations poured into one man, not to condone the United Nations or anything, but I'm a former digital marketer that got fed up with the standard way of working, standard way of living. I hit rock bottom a couple of years ago, and that triggered a transformation within me that set all this into motion. And yeah, man, I pretty much go through my days trying to help as many people as possible to trigger more happiness within these people as well, through my content and through coaching. So yeah, bro, that's what we're here to talk about.
Awesome. And what was that trigger of yours that got you down this path?
All right, I'm going to be very open and transparent here, if that's cool, right?
You should be the most open and transparent. That's what we do out here.
Bro, I spent 2 decades searching, struggling, not knowing what the fuck I was supposed to do in life. I didn't have the best sense of self-confidence, self-respect, self-esteem, all of that stuff. I didn't have any particular great skills. Now I know I was lazy, so that led to a life of just constantly searching for validation externally. You know what I mean? And that's all good and all that may be. You might think you might say it's not a big deal, but it gets to be a big deal when you're hurting the people around you. You know what I mean? So in my case, I've been in a relationship for a long time, and if every time shit hits the fan at home, you go out and they're like, oh no, I want to feel good about myself now. Let me just start talking to random people and let them, make me feel better. Right. And this sounds dumb. It sounds stupid, but that's something that I did systematically, you know what I mean? And structurally. And if you do it once or twice and you do it 3 times and you keep hurting the people that you love the most, at some point, shit's going to hit the fan. And it did. And I pretty much lost everything, lost the relationship, lost, the girl, lost the dog, lost the apartment. And that was the trigger, bro. That was all right, what are you going to do, Sash? Are you going to keep running like a little bitch? Are you going to keep pretending like it's the world, like it's the Republicans, like it's the teachers, like it's the educational system, like it's
everything but you.
It's racist, everything but me. Are we going to keep doing that? Or are we going to confront the man in the mirror and actually challenge yourself to be better and become better and quit this shit once and for all? And I chose that second option because it was the only option of that had a chance of getting my life back, getting my girl back. And I managed to do that with a lot of insanely hard effort, and with a lot of maturity on her end, so this is how I got there, bro. And I told you it's going to be real talk, transparent, open, naked, everything. Not even sure people will enjoy hearing this, people that I know personally, but I said, I'm going to go on a talk with Amir. I'm going to be real. So that's that, dude.
In a age of deceit, being real is very revolutionary and very unpopular. But the way I look at it is, me being part of the freedom movement since 2007, what seems unpopular to the general public is not very unpopular when you find the right people. The things that I want to talk about, which you just introduced very well, is the way to stay happy, healthy, and strong really is to, if I had to shorten this down, stop externalizing everything and start internalizing everything, everything. And from the internal, then you can properly express yourself. But if you don't know how to properly balance yourself internally, then whatever comes out from there externally is going to be imbalanced. And as a result, things like what you said, you're finding everything to blame other than yourself, when you can accept that this reality is solely structured around you as an individual and your projections that come out of your eyes and your soul, then, one of the mindsets I use often when I find myself in blaming mode is, what if nobody else actually existed right now? And I was actually just the only one existing and everything else is just a hallucination. If that's the case, then therefore I can't blame any of the external, because it is 100% my own projection. So from there, it's all about mindset.
Right, bro. And like you said, in my case, I ran to external validation, right, to make myself feel better. But others will dive into escapism other ways. You know what I mean? Like, that could be Netflix. That could be consumerism, like spending hours and hours on Amazon or whatever the shit, like whatever the fuck it is that you want to consume.
Sex, drugs,
all of that stuff. You know what I mean? We all have our vices. And if you let that take over your life and define you, and you keep escaping, you keep running from your real you, it's going to be a problem. And that's what happened with me.
The interesting point, to your point about escapism, one of the things I recognized about myself over these years of spiritual ascension has been that you can find escapism in a negative light through the positive, healthy practices. Like, for example, I took my yoga practice to such an extreme level that it took away from the philosophy of what a yoga practice should be. I took it to, I used it and I escaped so far with it that it became part of that. It became stressful, just like when you use sex and alcohol as escapism. Internally, it's still very stressful. Like, okay, I need to get sex. Okay, therefore I need to do all these stressful things that are going to get me to have sex. Or I'm going to drink alcohol, which is way more physical, like a clear physical stress response. When you from the biochemical standpoint, we know what happens to your body. There's lots of oxidative and metabolic stress. So, from there, it's like all of the healthy things can be those same end results of I'm stressing myself out. And then I'm going to be stuck in a chronic stress standpoint. So whether you're escaping from with alcohol or sex or yoga, and it doesn't matter if you're putting yourself in that stressful state still, then that's the problem. I guess the big thing I've learned over these years of spiritual ascension is if I'm in a chronic stress standpoint where I'm like, go, 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 do, then I'm not really healing and balancing what's inside, and it's part of the whole mindset that you hear very regularly in yoga, which is surrender. And especially as men in this Western society, we have a very hard time surrendering because surrendering is seen as weakness.
I love that, dude. I love that. Like, I'm not as well versed in the whole, yoga philosophy. So you're gonna have to help me up my game there, bro, because it's something I've been, aspiring to get more serious about. But yeah, dude, like, so that's how you start your day off with that routine. Is that part of your routine in the morning, or how what entails? What is it that you do?
So I have, and this is actually why I had to kind of go back and restructure how I do my practices, my physical and mental practices, to turn off the stress around having to do it. I need to do this much breath work every day. I have to do this much yoga. So essentially, I took a lot of my external imbalances and I implemented them into my health practices. But what my day looks like has stayed generally the same for years now. My morning practice is I wake up, I don't look at my phone. I try very hard not to look at any artificial light, which means my phone, turning on the light in the bathroom. Even when I go to the bathroom in the morning, it's pitch black. I literally go in the pitch black. Like maybe I'll take my cell phone and kind of like click it on so there's a tiny bit of light so I can kind of see. Yeah. It's like no artificial lights coming into my eyes directly. Then I immediately go outside with salt water. I start drinking my salt water right when I get up into my breath work and meditation. I go outside. Usually if there is like nobody around, I get completely naked. I go right under the sun, put my yoga mat under the sun, and then I do about 30 minutes of breath work. The breath work that I'll usually do is some kind of Wim Hof method based breath work, which could just be seen as like any other, like there are a million different ways.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Breath work, but yeah, scientifically speaking, I do the Wim Hof method in the morning. Then I'll do a yoga flow. So the morning routine of the physical and mental aspect, which is the breath work and the yoga, which go hand in hand. So that's necessary. If I need to shorten my morning routine, it'll just be the breath work. And then while I'm doing the breath work, I'll do my stretching in the breath work as well. So, sometimes you wake up and you're out with your friends on a vacation or something. Right. And you're like, shit, these people are going to start eating in 30 minutes or, oh, we need to leave. We need to go on the boat in 30 minutes. Like, okay, well, I don't care. I was just in Alabama for the last month. You could ask my friends, like, sorry, I have to go outside and meditate first. We're not leaving. Get mad at me all you want. I'm sorry. That's it. I'm sorry. I'm going to go do what's more important. And if you guys need to leave, then that's fine. It was my mistake. I should have woke up 15 minutes earlier. So even if I can get 10, 15 minutes of that breath work, I'm still good. Then when I come back inside after I'm done with the breath work, meditation, yoga, just general stretching, warming up my body, things like that. I come inside and then I'll have on work days, I try not to drink coffee every single day because it's extremely it could be said it's healthy, but like it's not that. It's a biohacking supplement. That's how I view it.
Right.
Coffee is a biohacking supplement. You should use it because if you abuse it, there is room to harm your body physically. But if you use it very scientifically, then you should be generally good to go. But in my coffee as well, as you see, this is my coffee. The only cup I've had today. It's 1 p.m. here. I also try not to drink my coffee until I've been awake for hours. So I try to like wake myself up naturally with the sun and my breath work and my movement before coffee. So if I come inside and I'm like really groggy still, I'll literally just go back outside and sun gaze for like 10 more minutes and just do like a faster type of breath into my eyes to wake me up there. And then I'll have my coffee. So I'm really using it as a targeted supplement to do my work better. Nothing else. I don't care to use coffee for anything other than heightening my work efficiency. Like, do I need it when I hang out with friends? No. Like, will I drink it before I go out so that I don't drink a Red Bull? Sure. But, generally speaking, I have like a very healthy relationship with whatever drugs that I do, especially the ones that I know have room for harm. When I use cannabis, for example, cannabinoids from a physiological standpoint don't have the ability to harm your body at extremely high doses like, caffeine or alcohol would do. So with that morning routine, I use the energy that I've harnessed to, and what's up everybody? Hey, whoever is on this live stream right now, shout out to y'all. Thank you for watching. If you guys have any questions for me and Sasha, ask them right down here and we will be more than happy to answer them. Let's actually see. Oh my God, we got Deepa in here. We got Mina in here. I love you, Deepa. We got Matthew in here. We got Ryan in here. Bro, everybody's in here. We got Mr. Manako in here. Okay, hey, we got a lot of homies in here. All right, so that's essentially my morning routine that takes me into the day. I do this for efficiency. I do this for balance and health. And then I'll do like my work for about, 5 to 7 hours. Then I have my workout. My workout will be anywhere from an hour and a half to 3 hours, generally of body weight training. If anybody's seen my videos, like you've seen my videos, you see the high level of physical movement that I do. Generally speaking, my workouts aren't as intense as they look in the videos. I'm usually just setting up the structure for the top move. So, yesterday I was doing front lever work and back lever work for most of my workout, but most of that workout was not doing a full front or back lever. It was doing the workouts that build up to that full front and back lever and just getting really, really good at the building blocks to get you to that top move. So, a lot of times you'll see people who do handstands and they could hold their handstand for a really long time, but they're not completely stacked because the reason is they're not putting in the years of extra work that it takes to get your ear to be to your shoulder completely perfectly and stacked and extended. And that right there takes an extra 3 years of work that only a small percentage of people want to put in. But I would argue that if you want to truly reach the most healthy and balanced standpoint that you can achieve in your life, it's the same as like, if I'm practicing breath work and the breath work calls for a deep inhale, I'm not going to do a half inhale because then I'm half-assing it. So whether it's mental or physical, for me, it's the same thing. Like mind and body, the and part of mind and body is a translational error. It's just mind body. They're the same thing.
It's one thing. Yeah, man. And that's something that like I try to like in my vision or in my coaching, when I help people, when I talk to clients, I always stress that factor of this is not, people make the mistakes of, oh, you know what I mean? Like, let me just eat healthy and then, that's it. It's just, no, you're not going to feel great if you're eating McDonald's every day, eating pizza and cookies. You know what I mean? Like, this is holistic. Like, it's a 360-degree, or is it 180 approach? That's the only way. So yeah, man. But like, I know you're so like advanced into this mind body stuff that it's super inspiring. So I just want to say that, like, I keep consuming your content because, like, it's like, yes, this dude gets it. Like, I need to like talk to him more. So super happy to be actually diving into this stuff.
Bro, I've seen you. I've been watching you grow over the years in all of these practices, and it's made me so happy, Sasha. Like, all right, Deepa, I love you, Deepa. Hopefully I'll be able to see you soon. She says, you are one of the best examples of this. It's been amazing to see your practice evolve because you are consistent and growing. Deepa's known me for a very long time. So the people who have known me for a long time have seen. Actually, Sasha, you said something really, really important earlier. Like, you said, you kind of alluded to the fact, you were like, I was never really good at anything. You kind of alluded to that fact, right? I always felt the same growing up. I always tried super hard to be the best at sports. I always, like in elementary school, middle school, and high school, I was always picked last on the teams. Like, we would stand in line for the basketball games. They'd pick my ass last every fucking time. I remember every time being like, what? Am I really the weak one? Like, I don't think I am. But like, they're picking me last for why is that? Well, I guess I'm just not good enough then. Because if I were good enough, they would be picking me for the team first. Today, if we were lined up, I would be getting picked first. I do get picked first. I essentially worked my ass off to consistently build what I knew I could achieve over time with the hours of work. So, and the most frustrating thing too is people say, like, now when they look at me, the people who didn't know me when I was younger say, like, wow, you must be you're genetic. It must be genetic. You're just naturally so strong. I'm like, bitch, I was literally picked last. I have vivid traumas of waiting to not be called last, and just over and over and over and over. It would be like, do you guys not like me? Am I weak? Like, what the fuck is... So instead of complaining, I went and put in the work. Now I am arguably one of the strongest people that exist in our age demographic. Like, I'm 33 years old. I don't know too many 33-year-olds that have the mind and body strength that I do. I mean, it's my goal to spread this to the world so everybody has these strengths. I mean, it's my goal that people can learn what I have as a baseline. Like, when you're telling me, like, wow, your stuff is so advanced, I don't think I'm that advanced. I think I'm at a baseline. And I think if the general population can meet where I'm at just the baseline, because I still have infinity.
A lot of way to go, for sure.
So I feel like where I'm at now is a perfect baseline to start at, which is what you said too. It's a lifestyle. If you don't do the whole full spectrum, that's literally, bro, my brand Specker is based off of that. Specker means full spectrum. And the thing I branded was the full spectrum lifestyle, because if it's not a full spectrum lifestyle and there is a big piece missing, like, oh, you have a healthy keto diet and you exercise all the time, but you don't sun gaze at all, you're under artificial light all day, you're missing the lifestyle then. Oh, you only sleep for 4 hours a night, you're missing the lifestyle then. You can do all the healthy practices you want, but if your sleep sucks, your mind and body is going to be imbalanced. So, it's just the lifestyle though. It's not overnight. I started meditating. The first meditation I ever did was when I was 6 years old in like karate class. So I've been doing this. It takes a long, long time. If ascending in anything was easy, everybody would be at the top. It's not easy. It's hard work. And that hard work is why so many people don't do it, because it's fucking hard.
But you know what it is though, bro? You know what it is though, bro? It's not, it's simple.
It is
simple.
But
it's just not easy. There's a big difference.
You have to
right.
It's the consistency. Yes, you're right. Like me going out and breathing is simple. The consistency of doing it every single day, no matter what, whether it's fucking snowing outside or 120 degrees, I don't give a fuck. I'm going outside and I'm taking my clothes off and I'm doing my fucking meditation. That is what is hard.
How do we see that evolving now? Like you alluded to it just now. We created a culture where instant gratification is expected, right? Like anyone between 10 and even 40, I want to say, is addicted to instant gratification. You and me, like we understand how to delay gratification. We know how to even like implement it into our lives. But the majority of people, the masses out there, they're just like animals, just like following their stimuli. You know what I mean? Like, oh shit, oh, I want this right now. Oh my God. Like if you're going to sit there and try to like hammer down on, you know, health benefits in a biochemical context, how do we do that, dude? You know what I mean? Like that's an actual question. Like that's going to be the challenge for us to relay these messages to the masses in a manner that's going to capture them and retain them.
The answer is leading by example is the only way. And we just have to hope that enough men, like, bro, Sasha, I mean, you and me used to have ferocious debates about topics that you fully adhere to now.
100%.
You know, and the way I view it is, if at any point through those debates, we stop being friends, like essentially if we let the personal get over like a philosophical conversation, then we wouldn't have been connecting like this today. So in that sense, I'm always viewing the people who have disagreements with me and I look at them and I'm like, actually, these are some of my best friends. Some of my closest friends I have the most ferocious disagreements on certain topics with, but we can agree to be friends. And I would agree. I would say that it's that necessity of, okay, that's fine if you disagree with me, just like, don't hate me. And Sasha, you know it, like you've seen a lot of the people that we went to college with, like they fucking hate me. To this day, I have not talked to some of these people in over a decade. They fucking hate me still.
Because you hated their favorite politician, bro.
I know, Mr. Obama. but like that's, you know, the whole thing is like, if as men, especially as men, we can stay leading with love, then that's eventually other people will be drawn to that mindset. And that's why I'm super excited how you've gone down this rabbit hole, Sasha, because you were always one of those men that even back in college, I would look at you and be like, that's a strong man, you know?
Oh man, like that's so funny to hear, man. Like, because you've told me that before, and to this day, I'm like,
say it publicly. I gotta say it for the people,
right? And it's like, bro, it's like that's insane. Because if you knew, and obviously, like I'm telling you now, and I've been telling you, like, it's funny how perception can work like that, right? Because little did you know that I was hella insecure. I had no confidence. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. All I knew was like, oh my God, I somehow worked my way into UCLA. That was like the achievement of my life. You know what I mean? Like that was like, oh my God, I'm going to be a Bruin. Like, and that's it. Looking back now, it's like, come on, what a joke. Like I literally, bro, I wouldn't have gone. You know what I mean? I would have said thanks, but no thanks. I don't need,
fuck
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm gonna go start a business.
Right? Exactly. So it's just funny to hear that, and especially like a lot of men out there, bro. They're just struggling with that, accepting being wrong, accepting not being alpha or being tough or whatever, because they think that's expected of them. You know what I mean? And it's like, bro, like the one of the main lessons that I've learned since since hitting rock bottom, since my transformation, since my evolution is admitting that you just don't know, admitting that you're wrong. And the more I can say I don't know, the more I can say, you know what, I was wrong. I've learned now, the better I'll be. I literally every day, and it's a super cliche, but like every day, I just need to be 1% better than yesterday. That's all I'm in this game for. Just 1%, bro. Like that's it. In my thinking, in my fitness, in my nutrition game, in all of that. And like you said, paving the way and coming at people with kindness and with love, that's like the inspiring factor right there. You know what I mean? Like, because my friends, for example, like I, like you, eat mostly carnivore diet, been no to low carb for 10, 15 years.
Can I ask you about that real quick? Like,
yeah, sure.
Like you're not a kid, so you're getting older now. You're feeling the.
I'm old as fuck, bro.
Like, how old are you right now?
39 now, bro.
All right, yeah, I thought you were almost 40. Yeah, like I remember in college, you were like a few years older than me.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, how much better have you felt now that you have a low carb, high fat diet compared to your way of eating prior?
I mean, it's crazy. Like the energy levels and stuff are just, you can't compare it, dude. It's two different worlds. We're not even speaking the same language, I feel.
And you came over from a more plant-based lifestyle as well, correct?
Yeah, well, I was more like omnivore. Then I went plant-based really heavily and died. Not died, but like my body just wasn't right.
The majority of your plants would be, or the majority of your diet was plants. It was not meat.
Yeah. So I would eat a shit ton of protein, but like in order to get the X amount of grams per day, I was eating so many, like, oh dude, it was just not pretty, if you know what I mean. So I then just went into low carb animal products, completely did a 180. And started implementing intermittent fasting 4 or 5 years ago. And that just completely, took it to an even higher level, So it's been a game changer, a life changer even.
That's how I transitioned as well. I started with fasting, and then that transitioned into the 1 meal a day paleo.
Yep.
1 meal a day keto, then that 1 meal a day keto. I would argue that the logical conclusion of being on a keto blueprint is having an animal-based diet.
Right.
Like, if ketosis means feeding off of fats as a primary fuel, therefore the bioavailable fat, which means it comes from animals, not your avocado and your fucking coconut. Therefore, that would mean that your diet has to be majorly animal fat based if you want to be properly utilizing fat as energy, fat as fuel. This is one of the big problems in the keto world as well, is that people who just come onto the keto blueprint think that their fat macros are high enough, but in reality, their protein macros are way too
high. Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, the keto doesn't work for me.
Doesn't work, right.
You were never in a properly fat adapted ketosis to begin with. That's why it didn't work for you. For me, I've been in ketosis for 3 years now. I feel fucking great. Every time I kick out of ketosis, I don't feel as good. And then every time I go back into ketosis, I feel great. But I notice too, when I go into ketosis, when it's a high, like for example, when I'm traveling, it's hard for me to find a 50% fatty cut of meat. Usually it's high protein. So I notice when I'm having like the 80% protein diet, 20% fat, I'm like, wow, I really do not feel as energetic. I don't feel as strong. And that's because my body is not like, protein is not the energy utilizer. It's either the fat or the carbohydrate.
Carbs. Yep.
So, the protein is a necessary building block of life. The amino acids are necessary to keep you alive, but that's not what is making the fuel and energy for your body in the way that fat utilization is.
Right.
So,
yeah, man.
If anybody has any questions, we got some people in here. Ask your questions, chat with us. I love having interactive,
Someone earlier said, I don't know if it's still here, asked if you were stressed out in college.
Yeah, like we were stressed out because we were binge drinking every fucking day, eating 5,000 calories of carbohydrates and then going and working out, doing stupid weightlifting workouts for fucking hours out of the day, and then going to the dining halls and then eating thousands of calories more of carbohydrates. And then what would we do at night? Go out and fucking drink. Like our bodies, like I might not have had external stressors that I was noticing, but all of those things that I just mentioned are causing internal stress on a level that fucks you up so badly that you can't even properly gauge if you don't have the proper education on what you're doing. Now I look back and I'm like, oh my God, how is my body metabolizing that much carbohydrate and then that much alcohol, which is more carbohydrate at once? Like that must have been so unhealthy. I put so much metabolic stress on my body doing that, but I wouldn't have known because I was like, well, I'm young, I'm healthy, I feel good. It's always but I feel good, but you don't have a baseline for what good even feels like.
You know what though, bro? Like, sorry to interrupt you. Like,
please.
Because I'm trying to look at it from a context of 2010, like back then, and then now. And my life now is so different, obviously, right? It's very strict. It's very based on routines, on habits. And there's very little room for me to, quote unquote, cheat. And that's when you were talking about like your routines and how sometimes it gets too focused and, you're too obsessed with the yoga, blah, blah, blah. I'm like that with the nutrition. So much so that, my girlfriend isn't as strict as me, for example. And in a relationship, these things, if you're not 100% aligned about these things, it gets difficult. And especially like in Belgium or in Europe, people love going to restaurants. I mean, Americans do too, but like Belgians have this, joie de vivre. It means like joy of living, right? Yeah. So like they're so proud the fact that they have that. And if you say like, no, this is about my health, I have to like do this. This is just the way I feel optimal, right? They will say, oh, Sash, joie de vivre, blah, 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 YOLO, and all that stuff. So how do you go about that stuff?
Like, okay, so I was the same way with my nutrition as well. Like the whole adding stress around it. That's why I started, well, for physiological reasons, I did this too, to stay metabolically flexible. But that's also why over the last year and a half or so, I've started being okay with, doing more normie things, which is going to the restaurant with my friends and the bar. That's it. That's all they want to they want to go to a fucking restaurant, eat high, like sugar and seed oil food. Then they want to go to a bar and order some sugary ass drinks that cost 50 times the amount that they should. And that's their fun.
I know, bro.
But this is what I've like, and this is the hard split that I have right now in my life. Is I have these really good friends that I love, but they don't live my lifestyle at all. So
same here.
Anytime I hang out with them, we're not going to go do what I do with my like more aligned friends, which is we're going to go fast together all day. We're going to go do breath work together. Then we're going to go exercise. Then we're going to go like make steaks together and smoke some weed and have like a spiritual time, maybe do some mushrooms together, you know. These are not things that I can do with my regular friends, my standardized friends.
Right.
So as a result, I kind of like stopped hanging out with them as much, but there are still like, if I just look at it from a soul standpoint and not an external standpoint, I look at, say, some of my closest best friends who are not like on my same path. And for some reason, I still feel connected to them. For some reason, I still call them and ask them to hang out. I don't have to. It's my choice. So at this point now, I've recognized, going back to the beginning of our conversation, like, bro, you having those conversations with those people is because you surround yourself with those people. Now I'm at the point where I've shifted my network enough to where I can choose where I want to be. If I want to go hang out with the normie friends and go do the normie things, I can do that. And what I'm going to do when I do that is not beat myself up. I'm going to realize I have to change my level of consciousness and put my vibrations into a different frequency and just be that for a few hours. Go shotgun your fucking beers with your friends and eat French fries. But as soon as I'm done with that, I'm going back and I'm going to do a 48-hour fast. I'm going to get my body back into balance.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I won't do it often. Like, it's not something that I do multiple times a week or every weekend. It's something that I do like once every other month or something like that. Once a month, maybe. So the thing is, in the transition that I had to where I said I found this balance between like people who I fully align with and just like my normie friends who there's a soul connection. I'm not externally aligning, but internally there's something greater there. You know, like I look at my best friends from like middle school and high school and like the people I'm still friends with. And I'm like, bro, I don't have that much in common with you, but there is something connecting us. So for that reason, I'm not going to, like, I will still continue to cultivate that relationship and grow on it, regardless of where they are in their spiritual evolution. So, you know, every single individual we can learn from. And if we spend too much time with the people that we 100% align with, then it's like
an echo chamber.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, bro.
So
there's a lot of that.
We'll learn, but I even notice, like, when I hang out with my meditation, like fitness, health friends too much, I'm like, all right, we're like, everything we're saying is just the same, you know, like, where's the debate? Like, where, you know, like, so true evolution does come from, you know, getting called out for your beliefs. Like, I'm stronger in my beliefs today because so many of my friends called me out for so many years that I would have to go home and then ponder that belief and then study the belief. And then if I still held the belief, then the belief is stronger or otherwise, you know? So, I mean, it's all about, I guess, if I could simplify all of this, it's just, if you can lead with love, the ultimate superpower that humans have is being able to lead with love. If you can lead with love, that is literally the most ultimate superpower that the human soul has within.
Right. I think it's very topical for the situation today, the context that we're living in today. I know they're making it challenging, but I think, you know, we still have to try to come at it from that perspective, right? It's because honestly, let's be real. A lot of these, as you call it, standardized friends of mine, they have a very, very different worldview, I feel. And it gets very lonely because I'm not physically around anyone like-minded. But still, you got to come at every single situation as much as possible with love and kindness, right?
Yeah, man. And, you know, it was definitely a practice too, with all these lockdowns and shit that we deal with, like, you know, seeing masked people. That was like my big problem when the whole masking shit started, and I'd be like on a hike And I'm like, why the fuck are you wearing a mask on a hike, bro? You're in the mountains. The fuck are you doing? But I'm just like, yo, this person is fucking scared. They're clearly imbalanced. Smile. Smile and say hi and just keep walking. Because that emission of love is going to be much more valuable for me and for that person than me looking at them and being like, nah. Which I did a few times. And then I recognized the energy that I was emitting from that. And I was like, nah, bro, you can't. This ain't the move. This ain't the move. This hurts
you don't want that, bro. Like, exactly. That's exactly right. Oh, Casper.
Yeah,
Casper is asking,
I was just reading Casper's. Yeah.
Do you guys think our society is losing its grip on more and more people, meaning like-minded people as like us, not fitting the standards, quote unquote? Is society? No, I don't think society is losing people. I think society is winning or gaining people. Like, I think more and more people are waking up, I feel.
So my answer to that is, first we have to answer the definition of what you mean by society.
Right.
Because if by society you mean the people who are living in the city centers mostly, then that's not society to me. Society is made up of all these different individuals who spontaneously come together and create order. But that's the problem with the definition of society. And I think the way that the question is answered is, which is correct. Casper would be correct in the premise of if society meant the centralized control apparatuses of monopolized coercion, which is the institution of government, like, are they losing a grip? So if society, like, to most people, society equals the state.
State, yep.
So yes, like to Casper's premise, if that is the premise that society equals the state, then therefore, yes, they're absolutely losing their grip. And it's freedom. Like what that means is that the balance of freedom is tipping to the point where they're losing the control grip. The grip is the control. And I don't want to live in a controlling society. I don't want to live in a coercive society where that person over there who I don't know can make rules about my life when I never consented to that person and I don't even know who the fuck they are. And then they write these words on paper, and then guys with guns will enforce them because they pay them to. I don't want to live in that kind of society. So I feel like the evolution that we're having right now is one where the individual is autonomous and free enough to not need the state. Like, I don't need society to be happy. I don't need society to live. I just need myself. I need my intelligence to survive and thrive. I don't need the validation of 1 million people to vote for me. Like, I just need the validation of myself. So I think the biggest threat to the status quo, and the status quo is just the existence of the state in our world still. Like, this is the transition. We're seeing it with cryptocurrency, with things like the growth of hemp being normalized across the world right now. They're losing their grip. And for truly strong men like myself and you, Sasha, I don't know if you're in the same place that I'm at now, but I will happily die for my beliefs. I will happily die to remain free. I could not say that 10 years ago. Like, Sasha, you know me, I've had the same beliefs. But today, I'm not scared. I'm strong. I'm healthy. I'm balanced. And what does that result in? You remove your fear of death. Because, I mean, you realize once you learn enough, I mean, what is death even? Is that the end? If your premise is no, that's not the end, then okay, it doesn't even matter. So that's a huge threat right there. And I'm not saying I'm going to incite violence, but I'm saying if somebody wants to be violent towards me, then I can and will happily defend myself now against anyone. Before, it was not the state as well. But today it's like, bro, if you keep pushing this and you want to harm me directly, I have no problem defending myself in whatever way is necessary to protect my life and my property and my happiness. So those words right there is what they fear, which is I'm not scared anymore. You don't scare me. And once that happens with enough people in society, that's when they lose their grip. It's you don't scare me, come at me, bro. I hope for a peaceful solution. I hope you don't come at me. But if you want to come through, the saying we have in America, Sasha, I'm sure you've heard it, fuck around and find out.
Yep.
And the government in America, at least, has been fucking around a lot the last year and a half.
They're pushing it, man. They're pushing it. And but that's the thing though, man. Like the cultural differences. And we briefly talked about this off camera before, right? I would feel kind of safe and secure in the US. Even if that doesn't really make sense necessarily, because the government is known to be a lot more coercive. But at least they have that rebellious component in your cultural DNA, in our cultural DNA back in the United States. And that is severely lacking out here in Europe, for sure, especially hard in Belgium, because Belgians just get dominated and destroyed by everyone. And it's in their culture to just say, okay, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. You say jump and I say how high, and then that's just how it is here. Scary, bro. They take pride currently. They're taking pride every day because this gets blasted on the news. Like we are currently the record holders for highest vaccination rate or whatever you call it. We're up to 92%, guys, and it's like they're celebrating this shit. Like, I mean, I don't give a shit if you're pro or con or whatever. It's just weird. You have to be able to say that's freaking weird, man. So that's kind of scary to me. Like at least the US has that, don't fuck with us because it's not going to go over easy.
Okay. So you brought up an important point. You said that the US is more coercive. When the lockdown started, I knew for a fact that I need to leave California. And as you know, I'm currently looking to buy land outside of California right now. But my first question was, do I stay in America or do I leave the United States? And I had to ponder this, and I like deep intellectual analysis, right? And I just started from the premise of freedom. The freedoms that we have in the United States, and the reason that Europe doesn't look as coercive, I would argue Europe is way more coercive than the United States. The only difference is the government doesn't need to use that coercion at all because what you said, like 92% something, so where is your resistance? Where is your rebellion? You don't have it. So of course, it looks less coercive, but that's only because the people have all fallen in line. The coercion there has essentially made everybody docile there. I mean, within Europe and the Commonwealth countries and stuff, they have what they call tall poppy syndrome, which is if your poppy is too tall, we need to cut you and make you the same as everybody else. I'm pretty sure that's just a pretty fucking way to say communism. So
you can't tell them that here because they will lose their shit if you say that. But it's actually, you're completely right,
it's
bro.
Communism, fuck calling it. I'm a student of history and a student of philosophy. I've devoted my life to these studies. Socialism, left, whatever. They're all just ways of saying communism. They're communist ideologies. Like I was watching this video, a YouTube video, like just a parody video yesterday that was like, when your American friend comes to Germany, and he's like, the American guy's like, but that's a communist. And he's like, no, they're a socialist. They're like the nicer version. They don't mean you any harm. And I'm like, bro, are you fucking stupid? Have you studied communism? Do you know how many times those communists use the word socialism and communism interchangeably. They're the same word. So, but if you have not studied the history of communist philosophy like I have, then you wouldn't know that, and you just promote the ideas because you think it means equality. But what the equality means is tall poppy syndrome, where you cannot evolve, because if you evolve too fast over everybody else, you get chopped. So for those reasons, I decided, like, think about this, Sasha. Let me ask you this question. Where else on the planet can I own the amount of guns and ammo that I have? The types of guns too. The types of ammo too. Where else? Name one other country.
No.
That's the right answer. It's zero.